Hello everyone, Pink Pony here. This video is going to help you win more of your game. This is a video that's going to help 95% of the entire player base, if not more than that. All right, this is going to be applicable for beginners, advanced players, veterans, and even competition players. All right, and so we'll get right into it. This is going to be an audio-based video. It's not going to be a lot of fancy visuals because it'll take too long to get hundreds of clips to show you each of these things. It'll be much more beneficial for me to walk this through with you in a more PowerPoint-oriented strategical manner. This video is meant for people to put on while you're driving, somewhere in a car, or just working and having audio on in the background, or taking a shower or something, which is what I do. I listen to YouTube videos. And so, getting right to it, I'm going to teach you in this video how to team fight using the triangle formation, okay? And you might already be doing this, and you might not even realize it, and you're still going to benefit from this video. In this video, we're going to cover the roles of all three members of your triangle, your squad. Then we're going to go over how to respond in a team fight situation, a few different situations, okay? So we'll get right to it. The front line is your players on your team who are generally up closer to the action. These are generally the better close range players on your team. They are able to survive probably better than the back person on your team. And they're usually the faster players because they have to know how to push and charge really well, okay? So the frontline members, the rules are they have to know how to push and charge really well. They have to have excellent survival skills. And we'll talk about why that's important. They have to be able to put out serious pressure. They have to be able to have excellent close range skills. And obviously, all the other mid and long range is always important, but their close range in particular has to be really good, all right? And so they have all those roles there. And then the safety or the anchor has those roles and more, okay? The safety or the anchor has the highest skill ceiling, as in you can do it decently. Like it's generally where you want to put your not as strong player or your not as fast player, but at the same time, it's like the most important role in the team. So someone who does it extremely, extremely well is going to, it's not the easiest to master, but it's easiest to pick up, if that makes sense. And that is really my role on the team most of the time, at least when I have like my full, comp diamond division team going. I am usually the safety or the anchor. And it's really because I know how to play that position best, all right? And it's not the easiest position to do well. Again, that skill ceiling. And so in this video, we've covered all the roles, okay? So why does the safety or anchor have to have more roles? Well, let's cover the additional roles that the front line versus the front line, all right? The safety or the anchor has to do all those things the front line does, but they also have to know how to run away, all right? Now, why is that? Because if the front line goes down, the safety or anchor has to know when to retreat to get your team back up. And what does that mean? Well, a successful retreat is based on how fast you are. If the enemy is faster than you, like they have better movement skills, you're going to get outrun, you're not going to be able to run away, and if you're just running away and they're faster, you're just going to die for free. So you might as well fight to the death, all right? And that is probably the problem I see with most safety or anchors. They're not a fast player. And so when they get when they get in trouble and they try to run away, well, it's too late. But for most of the time, and that's probably the biggest issue I see with people playing the safety or anchor position. And so the safety or anchor really shouldn't be a slow player, but if you got to put your slowest player somewhere, that's the place to put it, if that makes sense. And so the safety or anchor has to be fast, really, to do really well. Now, they also have to be the best support member or team player on the team because they have to understand when their front line is in trouble, and they have to help, right? If they don't help, it's too late, it's over, your front line's going to die, and then your team's in serious trouble, okay? They have to do that, and then usually they're also making the calls because they have the better view, all right? Or they're having helpful calls, at least to the front line, that are going to help your front line live. Like if the safety or anchor sees 3 people charging your front line, that person can tell them, but maybe the front line member couldn't see it because they're peeking and they're getting shot at by 3 people. So the safety or anchor really also has to make call outs, all right? So all 3 of those hardcore roles added on to all the other stuff the front line member does, all right? That's a lot. And so again, to repeat, because it's that important, the safety anchor is probably the easiest one to start, but it's the hardest one to master, all right? And if I had to say, I always say that the best players in the world always excel at something, all right? I'm not the best long-range player or close-range player by any means, but I'm probably one of the best team players out there, okay? And I'm probably one of the best safety rankers out there. And so getting into it, we've covered the rules. Let's get to how to team fight, because I know that's what y'all came here for, right? And so we'll get right into it. Again, if you can't watch the visuals here, that's okay. I'm going to walk through it verbally. Your triangle has to operate like it has a thread in between these members. Like there's a thread that goes from this frontline member, the left one, to the safety anchor and to the other frontline member. The thread should never be too long, or you can think of it as a rubber band that will snap, all right? The closer you are, generally the better, but you don't want to go too far out where your team is going to be in trouble from too much pressure on one of them, all right, or two of them. And so you want to operate in a triangle essentially at all times, all right? And I'll show you why this is important. So in the first scenario we're going to go over is you have this wonderful triangle. And what happens if you have two people pushing one side of your triangle? Right? How do you respond, right? So in theory, what will happen is that one of your teammates will be stalemating one of the enemies right here. Like they'll be shooting each other and they're having an equal pressure battle. So nothing's really happening. They're just both surviving, and that's great. However, the other two enemies realize that the other guy is kind of exposed, and so they're double pushing one of your teammates. If you, as the safety or the anchor, you have to help that frontline player, okay? And you have to help them sooner than later, or you're going to be in trouble, all right? And so this is why it's so important to have this triangle, because the safety or anchor can go where needed to help where where your triangle is in trouble in a fight, all right? And so the safety anchor, again, has to have great map awareness. They have to know when to help. They have to know what's going on, and really at all times. They also are usually the ones looking out for the pin drops because the people in front have too much going on, right? So you also have to look for that. I forgot about that. And so you have to respond here, all right? And so this is how the safety, the anchor, moves to help the close range players. Now, of course, there are situations, and this happens all the time, where the close range player just wipes out a couple of the enemies, right? Let's say this guy got lucky or did really well, and he killed both of those enemies that charged him, right? How does your triangle operate then? Your triangle wraps around the enemy, all right? And this is how you win a fight. So then your triangle comes in. Your support, your anchor, can either help the person who's getting, who's been stalemating that one player the whole time, or they can go and flank along with the other close range or front line member who is also flanking. And then you have this nice wrap around the enemy, and that's why you hear veteran players a lot of times say, oh, they're wrapping on us. Usually only pro players say that. They're wrapping on us. What does that mean? Well, that means that the enemy is moving around so that they wrap around, and there's just really no winning this kind of situation if you're the red player, right? There's really no situation in a 1v3, especially these days, where you're going to win a fight like this, all right, as the enemy player right here in this red arrow. And so in this, what did we just do? We went over a situation where, first off, how do you respond to a double stack on one of your sides? Your triangle, the anchor safety has to help. And then if one side of your triangle wins a fight, how do you respond? Well, then you wrap, and you wrap effectively, okay? So let's say in this situation, we're still going over kind of the response to a fight now. Your anchor support safety just helps your frontline member to make sure they don't die, because dying is not good, because if you're getting third party, you really don't want to lose anyone. Every second counts. And then the guy who won his fight on this side of the triangle is going to go and flank around to help out the other two members of the team, right? So you can kind of see now how this triangle always forms. Like there is still a triangle here, right? Some kind of shaped triangle now, all right? And that's why when you're fighting, you always want to maintain a triangle formation. And that is the triangle formation in a nutshell. So we talked about how to respond to a double stack. We talked about how to respond if you actually do down an enemy player and how to wrap. Okay, so we covered 2 situations or 2 tactics, all right? How to respond to the double stack, how to wrap if you get one enemy of the team down. Now, how do we respond to a triple stack, all right? There's no one right way to do all these things, right? But this is just generally how the triangle is going to respond, okay? So now let's say you see the triple stack. Ideally, you're going to call out that triple stack and respond to it before it's too late, like before your team member is in the close range against all 3 players, because as you know, time to kill with an MP5, for example, is less than half a second. So if 3 of your enemies are on your one person, they're going to die in like 0.1 second, all right? And there's no responding to that. They're dead. So you have to respond to this before your player is in the close range. So you're in like the medium range, even maybe even the long range would be better. Now there's many ways you can respond to this, but the probably first way and easiest way to do this is really to have your safety rank or support. 2v3 is going to slow down the push a lot better than a 1v3. And then you're going to have your third member rotate so that they get some wonderful pressure on a flank on the enemy, hopefully downing an enemy, hopefully killing one, but maybe just weakening them enough so that the other 2 members of the team are able to win that pressure battle, get some good poke, and win the fight. All right, and so that's how you respond to a triple stack. One way, okay, your anchor support comes to help the person who's getting triple stacked. You hunker down, buy time, do not die. And that's why I say, everyone who plays with me in comp the first time, I go, all you have to do is not die. Because I'm going to rotate on them. I'm going to squeeze them. You just have to not die, hold your position, right? And so then, of course, your other side of the triangle wraps around, gets a nice flank to help you win the fight, all right? Now, that's situation 1. Now, let's say you have a really strong player. As the guy who's getting triple stacked, and he can actually hold off pressure on all 3 of them. Well, that makes it really easy. This is situation number 2. You both of your other teammates, your anchor and your other front line, just wrap around the enemy. You have this nice tight squeeze. You're going to win this, like we said before. If you're shooting from behind and the side, that's pretty much over for this team. If this single person is able to hold all 3 people, for example, maybe he has the high ground, maybe he has, he got a great lucky few shots, and so the pressure, he's doing really good in this pressure battle, at least able to stalemate the pressure of all 3 of these enemies, and then your other teammates come in and just destroy from a flank, all right? And then you win that fight. That's situation number 2, how to respond to the triple stack. The third way to respond to the triple stack is to have your person who's getting charged retreat so that your enemies come in after him, and essentially you're ambushing them in what happens to be a natural triangle here, and you're getting this wonderful flank on the enemies without them hopefully even knowing it. Maybe you ambush, maybe you run away with this person, the other 2 are hiding, and then once you know you've got the high ground or the flank on them, you come out, start shooting them, and like, oh crap, and they're backing up. And then your guy who was running away comes back into the fight, and then they're slowly backing up. They're getting whittled down, and your triangle is just moving on them and trying to keep the pressure on while wrapping around them, all right? That is also a great way to win the triple stack, right? Notice there's a lot of ways to handle the triple stack if you know how to do it and if you can respond to it. Now, this is also why your frontline teammates have to be really good, because they have to know how to survive not just one player. Usually have to know how to survive at least 2 players or 3 players, which is not easy to do when assuming equal skill, all right, which is very tough. So your frontline members, again, I should stress this, really have to know how to survive, okay? They don't even have to know how to kill, because in theory, if this person doesn't even kill anyone, it's okay, because as long as the other 2 members get a wonderful high ground position, maybe you're on a mountain and these guys are on like the low ground in the valley, like you're gonna win that fight. And that's why I say, again, do not die. Rule number 1 in a team fight is do not die. Your survival is more important than you getting that 1 kill usually, okay? A lot of the time in a serious competitive game, assuming equal skill, of course, again. So we covered 3 kind of tactics, right? We covered how to respond to the double stack. We covered how to respond and how to wrap around the enemy team if you get one enemy down and it's a 3v2. We covered how to handle the triple stack in like 3 different ways. Now, what do you do if you are this side that loses one teammate? Okay, once one teammate goes down, man, the dynamic changes. It becomes a psychological game at the highest level of play, again assuming equal skill, because if you lose a teammate, then this is where the safety ranker comes into play. Okay, as a safety ranker, you have to make a split decision. Let's put it this way: before your teammate goes down, if you have your teammate in big trouble here, maybe they are getting triple stacked or double stacked even, and this person's saying, I'm in trouble, I'm going down soon, I'm not going to be able to survive or something like that, the safety ranker has to make a split decision on whether to help or to run away. Okay, and you can't take too long, because if you wait too long to run away and this guy goes down and you got these 2 people already moving on you, it's probably too late to run away, because they're going to get some stray shots on you. They're going to whittle your health down, which is going to slow you down naturally because you can't fly as fast anymore. And they're going to catch up to you and they're going to down you. Okay, so you have to run before that even happens, which is not an easy choice to make, because your teammates sometimes going to be like, oh my god, you left me, like what the hell, like. But in all seriousness, it was probably a better idea to leave them there. So how do you respond here? Well, you either have to get there ASAP to help your teammate, and you have to win that fight, as in maybe it's better to do this. If you can and you have time, it's better as the anchor to wrap all the way around to this side and get some nice pressure over here and help on this flank before your teammate dies. If you're extremely desperate, and I don't recommend this, is to go through the middle and go this way, because you leave yourself exposed to this guy who can now just easily poke you, and then, it might be, if he's behind good cover and this guy can't move up, you're probably in trouble. All right, and so that's not the best way to do it, but that's also a way to do it if you're going to help. And here, you really want to get a flank, because if you're already losing the pressure battle because your one guy's getting hurt by 2 people, you coming in to support this head on, unless the enemy is, again, unequal skill and just walking in the open or something, which doesn't always happen against good players, or it doesn't happen at all against good players, then you coming in on the front when you're already losing this pressure battle is like not going to help you, and you're probably just going to die as well. All right, like by the time you get there, your teammate dies, and now you're stuck in another 2v1. Oops, you're screwed. So you either have to get to a flank ASAP and help, or you just got to help directly. If your guy is doing really pretty dang good, like he's getting him low, sure, help directly. But a lot of the time, it's better to run early. Maybe your teammate got a kill, and that's great, and you traded 1 kill for 1 kill, which is great. And then you ran away, and you get to come up again, and maybe this guy, either runs away or gets a kill or dies. But at least you get a chance to come back as a team, all right? You have to kind of judge very quickly before it's too late again whether it's a good idea to run away or fight. And you're not always going to make the right decision, and it's going to suck. But that's why, again, the anchor or the safety is a very tough position in a different way. It's more like a thinking game than in the close range in some way, shape, or form. All right, so of course, the safety ranker has to know how to push and all that. That's why, and be fast. That's why, to get all around here is not going to be easy, and it's not going to be fast. You got to be a fast player if you're the safety. And the anchor too, to help. All right. So we've covered a lot of situations here, right? And I would say this is really the basics, okay, on how to push and move and fight, and also on how to respond to bad situations, okay? So we've talked about kind of roles, different kind of methods for unequal fights, but let's say we're kind of having this equal fight here, right? And you've watched this video and you made it this far in this video where you have this nice stalemate on the enemy team where your 3 are shooting their 3 and nothing's really moving, which you see a lot of the time, right? You don't want to have this happen all the time unless you know that your back is safe from a third party, okay? If you're getting third partied, you're dead, obviously, right? And you're in this stalemate. But if they're getting third party, that's a great thing. So I don't mind these kind of stalemates if our backs are like safe completely, and I know they are, and I know the enemy team is not, okay? But otherwise, we hate stalemates. We want to end this fast. We can get kills, get more kills, because we want to play aggressively. So how do you do this? Okay, let's pretend you watch this video. You know how to do the triangle formation. The enemies do not. Okay, how do you do this? All right. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to drop a side of this triangle and you're going to rotate. Okay, so now this is tough because what's going to happen is you're going to relieve pressure on one side of this triangle. And so you're trying to bait one of the enemies, or just to either stay in their position or to push one of your sides, while one of your sides, your triangle, goes around and flanks, all right, and catches the enemy out of position, all right. So you're essentially kind of baiting this in, or they're, if for whatever reason they're staying in their spot because they didn't watch this video and they know not to get wrapped on, you're just gonna out-wrap them. You're going to have one flank member go around, and now this is a huge triangle, right? Which is not always a good thing. And you're going to flank them this way, all right? It would be hard to do this unless your middle player is able to hold all this pressure. But usually what's going to happen is it's better to have two holding the pressure while one flanks, all right? And this is what I do a lot of the time. This is usually my job, this flank, while my two close range players are holding that front line. So it's really me as the safety or anchor usually who does this, while the front line, holds ground, and like the enemy didn't see me, for example, and then boom, I come out of the side, I'm getting pressure, and then my front line's able to push up on that pressure I put and win the fight. All right, that's usually how our team operates. All right, for most of the time on the initial engagement. All right, so that's how to win if the enemy team doesn't respond to your rotations or your wrap, all right? But a good enemy team will usually go, oh shit, that guy's trying to wrap us, all right? So what will that person do, or what should that person do? That person should match the rotation. So again, how to respond is if this guy's trying to rotate like this, you're having this situation where you have to match, all right, the person rotating. And the further one member of your squad gets away from the triangle, the stronger the player better be, because they're essentially making this a one-on-one. If that player cannot win the one-on-one, oh boy, you're now in a position where it's a 2v3 and you're going to get wrapped on, right? That is really how this triangle formation works. Again, hopefully you've watched this video and your enemies have not watched this video, so all your teammates have to do, and you can tell your teammates, I'm going to flank, I'm going to wrap. All y'all have to do is hold steady. Just give me 20 seconds. I'll be there to flank. And once I whittle them a little bit, push up on them. That's how I communicate most time. I even do that in squads. Like when I see my two teammates do stuff and I've been looting the whole time, they go, where the hell are you? I'm flanking. Don't worry. Just give me 20 seconds. All you got to do is stay there. Keep them busy. I come around the side. I murder them all. Or I hurt them well enough where my team gets it. That's usually how I operate, even in squads games, because usually in squads I'm just flying around solo because it's funner that way anyways, and it makes it more interesting. Because if we're doing this serious team tactics and in a squads game, it's just no fun because everyone dies because they don't know how to do this stuff. All right, so if you've watched this video, if you're the leader of the team, this is probably going to benefit you best, because you're going to be able to organize your team in a way that's going to move like a triangle and operate like a triangle to win your fights. All right, but honestly, if you're even if you're not the leader of your team, you have to understand what all this is, right? So when the leader of your team is making those calls, you know what they're talking about. I hope you've benefited from this video. Like, comment, and subscribe below. Leave extra tips or comments. This one single video will never explain all the situations that are going to happen in a real game, right? But this is pretty much the textbook basics on how you should team fight all the time, really. But this is how we play in competition in the highest level. If you benefited from this video, like it, share it. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.